So with the detour around Mugian Baldy, or however you pronounce it, my snow worries are pretty much over as near as I can tell. Next, I'm going to be down by the Gila. There's a couple of different sections where I'm going to be wading across. That should be passable, and I don't see any reason to use like the high water alt this time of year. I like, sloshing back and forth through the streams. That also means the water is going to be fairly accessible for at least a while. Now, the interesting thing is I'm going to hit the CDT. My next stop in a couple of days is Doc Campbell, probably 2 days or so, which is a stop along the Gila River alternate, which is more commonly done than the other. Now, the red line of the CDT goes through a section that had a big wildfire back in, I think, 2022. I don't know if that's going to be passable or not. There is an alternate listed there because it says that there's fire impact. However, I'm not really inclined to go around to avoid something like that. I really want to see that section. I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm on the CDT at the end of the year, but I was looking at going through that section. We'll see. Water might be the big decider on that. Other interesting thing is the guide that I've been, grumbling about being a little overwrought at times. Has started to get a little less so. There are sections that are not finalized. Not finalized ones basically just have notes for particular mile markers, which is exactly more what I'm looking for. I don't have to like dig through 2 paragraphs just to get, go out the ridge, come back the ridge. And then after Winston, it is, there is no guide. So all there is are the maps and the GPX, which is fine. There are 1 or 2 other sections that may have some snow. I'm not as worried about them since, this is the high point and it is noticeably melting quickly. I guess my bigger concern from here on out, other than some of the longer water carries, there may be like a 27-mile water carry out of Winston, it's just going to be timing because it's now May 3rd. In 1 month exactly, I need to be in a car with Jen headed for Itasca and starting the Mississippi. Ideally, I want to finish and spend a couple of days at least with my parents, if at all possible, but we'll see. Yesterday I made 20 miles. I kind of did the plan with 15-mile days, figuring that I could exceed it sometimes, but it really varies. That last section through Turkey Feather Creek, where I'm currently camped, was really slow going because basically the flood had eroded the trail and it's kind of scrambling along these loose side hills that you just can't rush on. And then down trees. You saw how many down trees there were when I was dropping into the canyon. We'll see. I'm just going to try and make the best time I can, and I got to minimize days off. I've already kind of splurged here because I took a 0 at Safford and then that unplanned 0 at Alma. Unfortunately, gear-wise, my pants, which already had some holes in them, the button just popped. I think I was cinching it up because as my waist is going down, I basically lift it up on my belly and then cinch it. And yeah, the plastic just gave way. I'll jury rig something because it's not like I'm going to be able to get replacement pants anytime soon. Okay, onwards after the bear. If I can stick to this canyon, if it doesn't get too hard of going, I should be back on the main red line in about 5 miles, at which point it's Gila West Fork time. Man, stopped just a little too early. This looks nicer than where I was. Granted, that's what makes me pass up marginal campsites on occasion and end up hiking till 10:30 because, there's absolutely no options later. So while I am a little bit concerned about timing around finishing, just because I don't know how hard the trail is going to be, this is also part of the trip that I always remember so fondly when I'm off the trail, because basically it feels like I've been out here forever. A month and a half is an eternity. And finishing is, a month away here, but even that's further than I can contemplate. I'm living day by day. Even last week seems like it was a long time ago. Somebody asked me where I camped a day or 2 ago, and I really have to think about it. I've thought about it a bunch, and I think it's this state of just feeling like I kind of exist out here and living day by day is what I'm chasing when I do these longer trails. And this would be this morning's goodbye to dry feet. I don't mind pushing through brush, but these things suck. This is one of those interesting things I'm never sure of. You see how the water is milky here? I get it when it's under a glacier and you've got rock flour ground in. But I've never figured it out when you've got, you know, dry terrain like this, and that shouldn't be rock flour. I generally try to avoid it, but sometimes you have to use them. Also, bear track. Part of the reason I try and avoid milky sources where I can is just superstition paranoia. We drank out of a source like that on the Lone Star hiking trail, only to come down with a pretty nasty case of noro not long after. Okay, back on the main route now. After a little bit of cross country. Should be dropping into the river here pretty quick. So it looks like my feet are going to be wet for the next 20 miles or so. Just ran into Bear, who's another GET hiker. She's going a little slower. She was the one that got to Klondike and her package wasn't there. So she's had a hell of a time. Basically been out on the trail since I started the AZT. Okay, now that is pretty cool. Those rocks are just really unique looking. Huh. Kind of curious if there's a rock climbing route on that. I have lost count of the number of crossings I've done today. So there have been a handful of developed sites like this. So far, only a couple of them have been occupied. I'm making the assumption I'll be able to make something work, especially if there's a bigger area like this as I get closer to the entrance. I want to make sure I can get in and out of Doc Campbell's tomorrow. Just a bit of erosion. Huh. Just saw another bear cub tear out of here. Okay, this has been fun, but it's about time to start looking for a campsite. Getting on to 7:30. Okay, had a hunch, followed a animal track down by the river, and I've got a campsite that's pretty private. And right before last light hits the top of the canyon. Home sweet home.